I stared at the Thanksgiving table watching my 6-year-old daughter Emma sit in the corner chair, the one farthest from the food. My mother had arranged the seating that way on purpose. She'd done it last year too and the year before that. The dining room smelled like roasted turkey and fresh bread. The chandelier cast warm light over the perfectly set table with its cream linens and autumn centerpiece. Everything looked beautiful and festive. Everything except Emma's placement at the far end, isolated from the warmth. "Real family eats first," Mom announced, passing the turkey platter around the table. "If there's anything left, she can have it." Emma's small hands gripped her empty plate. She didn't cry. She'd learned not to at these dinners. The first year when she was 3, she'd asked why she couldn't eat with everyone else. My mother told her to be grateful she was invited at all. Emma never asked again. My brother Mark laughed. "Makes sense. Why waste the good cuts on kids who aren't really part of the family tree?" His wife nodded enthusiastically. "Exactly. My children have our bloodline. They deserve priority." I sat quietly watching them pile food on their plates. The same turkey I'd paid for. The same sides, the same wine. The same everything I'd been funding for 5 years through monthly transfers to their grocery accounts. They didn't know. They thought some distant relative had left them a small trust that deposited money monthly for food expenses. My father had helped me set it up that way after Emma was born. He'd died 3 years ago, taking the secret with him. "Maybe she's not hungry," my sister Jennifer said, eyeing Emma. "She looks a bit chubby anyway." Emma was 6 years old and perfectly healthy. But she sat there hearing every word, watching her cousins eat the cranberry sauce she'd helped me pick out at the store last week. I'd been 22 when I got pregnant. The father disappeared before Emma was born. My family's response had been immediate and cruel. They tolerated Emma's existence but made it clear she was lesser, not really family. A mistake I'd made that they had to endure. What they didn't know was that my career in financial consulting had taken off spectacularly. I'd started making serious money by the time Emma was 1. I'd been promoted to senior analyst, then associate partner, then full partner. By the time Emma turned 2, I was handling portfolios worth hundreds of millions. My personal income had grown exponentially. And I'd started paying for everything in their lives. Not just groceries. Everything. I paid my mother's mortgage. The beautiful 4-bedroom house she lived in. The one she was so proud of, the one she hosted these family gatherings in. Every month, $4,000 transferred automatically to cover it. She thought it came from a trust fund left by a distant uncle. I covered Mark's car payments. His Tesla that he loved to show off, talking about how he'd worked so hard to afford it. 3 years of payments, $68,000 total so far. He thought he'd gotten an amazing loan with mysteriously low interest. I funded Jennifer's kids' private school tuition through an anonymous scholarship. $22,000 per child per year. 3 children. She bragged constantly about how her kids had earned merit scholarships. They hadn't. I'd paid every penny. I covered their insurance, their utilities, their credit card bills. The balances they thought were mysteriously getting smaller each month. My brother thought he was managing his finances well. My sister thought she was budgeting successfully. My mother thought she was living comfortably on her late husband's pension. They were all living on my money while treating my daughter like garbage. I'd set it all up through my father before he died. He'd been horrified by how they treated Emma. This was his idea of poetic justice. Letting them be cruel to us while being completely dependent on us for survival. "Pass the potatoes," Mark said, deliberately reaching across Emma instead of asking her to pass them. His elbow knocked her water glass. It spilled across her dress. "Clumsy," he muttered. Emma looked at me. I gave her a small smile. She smiled back, that brave little smile that broke my heart every time. My mother clucked her tongue. "Go clean yourself up." "Honestly." Emma slid from her chair and walked to the bathroom. I heard the door close softly. "I swear she's so awkward," Jennifer said. "Must be genetic from the father's side." They all laughed. I pulled out my phone under the table and opened my banking app. Then I sent a text to my financial advisor. "Michael, initiate Protocol 7. All of them. Effective immediately." 3 dots appeared. Then, "Are you certain? This is irreversible." I typed back. "Completely certain. Do it now." Done. All accounts frozen and transfers cancelled. Documentation being prepared. I set my phone down and picked up my wine glass. More turkey? Mom asked Mark, already piling seconds onto his plate. Thanks, Mom. This is amazing. That monthly food stipend really helps us afford quality ingredients. I know, Mom said. Thank goodness for Uncle Raymond's foresight, setting up that trust before he died. Uncle Raymond had been dead for 15 years and never had any money. But they believed the story. Emma returned from the bathroom, her dress damp but clean. She went back to her corner seat. Can I have some turkey now? She asked quietly. When everyone's finished with seconds, Mom said dismissively. Real family first, remember? Mark's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, and set it down. Jennifer's phone buzzed next. She picked it up, read something, and her face went pale. What's wrong? Her husband asked. My grocery account. It says there's been a freeze on all incoming transfers. Some kind of administrative review. Mark grabbed his phone again. Mine too. What the hell? My mother's phone started ringing. She answered it, listened, and her face drained of color. What do you mean the mortgage payment was declined? The automatic transfer should have gone through this morning. I took another sip of wine. Mark was frantically scrolling through his banking app. My car payment bounced. And my credit card payment. This doesn't make sense. The monthly deposits should have covered everything. Maybe it's a bank error, Jennifer's husband suggested. Call them. They all started calling. Mom to the mortgage company, Mark to his bank, Jennifer to the grocery account customer service line. I cut a small piece of turkey and put it on Emma's plate. Then some stuffing. Some green beans. Cranberry sauce. Here, sweetheart, I said quietly. She looked at the food, then at me, uncertain. It's okay. Eat. My mother hung up her phone, her hands shaking. They said the account that's been making my mortgage payments doesn't exist anymore. It just vanished. They're threatening foreclosure proceedings if I don't make the last 6 months of payments immediately. 6 months. Mark stared at her. What do you mean 6 months? The payments have been coming from some trust account. But apparently that account closed today and now they want back payment for everything that bounced. They're saying I owe them $24,000 immediately. The room went silent except for the sound of phones buzzing and ringing constantly now. Mark's face was white. My car account too. They're saying the last year of payments is invalid. The account that was paying doesn't exist anymore. I owe them $13,000 immediately, or they're repossessing the car within 48 hours. Jennifer was crying now, mascara streaking down her face. The scholarship for the kids' school they just called. It's been revoked. Effective immediately. We owe them $45,000 for this year's tuition. They're threatening to expel the kids if we don't pay by Monday. That's 3 days away. Her husband stood up, his face red. This has to be a mistake. Someone messed up. Banks don't just close accounts like this. They do when the person funding them cancels everything, I said quietly. They all turned to look at me, confusion and panic spreading across their faces. I don't understand, Mom whispered. Where did that money come from? Who was paying? I set down my wine glass. I was. Silence. What? Mark said. I've been paying for everything. Your mortgage, Mom. Every single payment for the last 5 years. Your car, Mark. Every monthly payment for 3 years. The kids' school, Jennifer. Every semester, every fee, every activity cost. Your grocery accounts, all of you. Your utilities. Your insurance. Your credit card minimums. Everything. For 5 years. My mother's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. She looked like she'd been physically struck. That's impossible, Mark said, though his voice was shaking. You can't afford all that. You work in consulting. You drive a regular car. You live in a normal apartment. I'm a senior partner at Henderson Financial Group. I made $3.2 million last year. I can afford quite a lot. I chose to live modestly because I was spending roughly $200,000 annually keeping all of you afloat. The number hung in the air. $200,000 per year. For 5 years. Jennifer made a choking sound. Her husband sat down heavily, his face gray. I pulled out my phone and turned it around, showing them my banking app. The balance was clearly visible. Jennifer made another choking sound. Dad helped me set it up, I continued calmly. Before he died. He thought it would be educational for you to learn what dependence feels like. He was disgusted by how you treated Emma. Emma is your mistake, Mom said, her voice shaking with anger now. We had every right to. You had every right to treat a child like garbage while eating food I bought? I interrupted, my voice still calm. You had every right to make my daughter watch while you fed your children first, with money I provided? Mark stood up. You can't do this. You can't just cut us off. I already did. 2 minutes ago. Every account is frozen. Every automatic payment is cancelled. Everything. But we'll lose everything, Jennifer sobbed. The house. Her. The kids' school. Yes, I said simply. You will. My mother's face was red now, tears streaming down her cheeks. Please. Please don't do this. We'll apologize. We'll do better. Emma can eat first from now on. Whatever you want. I looked at Emma. She was eating her turkey quietly, watching everyone with wide eyes. Emma, honey, would you like some pie? I saw they brought your favorite, pumpkin. She nodded slowly. I stood up, cut her a large slice of pumpkin pie, added whipped cream and set it in front of her. The thing is, I said, turning back to my family, Emma doesn't need to eat first. She doesn't need special treatment. She just needed to be treated like a human being. Like family. And you couldn't even manage that. We didn't know, Mark said desperately, standing up from his chair. We didn't know you were paying for everything. If we'd known. You would have what? Treated Emma with basic human decency? That's the problem, Mark. You shouldn't have needed a financial incentive to be kind to a child. You should have just been decent human beings. But you couldn't even manage that. My mother was sobbing now, mascara running down her face in black streaks. What do you want from us? Tell us what to do to fix this. I'll apologize. We'll all apologize. Emma can eat first at every meal. She can have whatever she wants. Just please, please don't do this. I picked up my purse and took Emma's hand. Her small fingers wrapped around mine, warm and trusting. I don't want anything from you. I don't want apologies that only come because your money disappeared. I don't want Emma to eat first because you're scared of losing your house. I just wanted you to understand what it feels like to have everything taken away by people who are supposed to love you. Where are you going? Jennifer asked frantically, standing up too. You can't just leave. We need to talk about this. We need to figure out a payment plan or something. Home. Emma and I are going to have a proper Thanksgiving dinner. Just the two of us. With food I bought. In a home I pay for. Surrounded by love instead of contempt. Wait, Mom said, grabbing my arm. Please. Let's talk about this. We can figure something out. I gently removed her hand. There's nothing to figure out. You'll need to get jobs. Real jobs. Cover your own expenses. Live within your means. It's what you've been telling me to do for years, right? Time to take your own advice. Mark was scrolling through his phone frantically. The utility company is calling. They're saying the payment for the last 3 months bounced. That's because I canceled them, I said. Along with everything else. But it's winter, Jennifer said. We have children. So do I replied, squeezing Emma's hand. I have a child who just spent another holiday being treated like trash while you ate food I provided. I'm done now. I walked toward the door, Emma beside me. You're a monster, my mother shouted behind me. Doing this to your own family. I turned back one last time. No, Mom. I'm just treating you exactly how you treated my daughter. The difference is, Emma is innocent. You're not. We walked out into the cold November evening. Emma was quiet until we got to the car. Mommy, are they going to be okay? I buckled her into her car seat and kissed her forehead. They'll figure it out, sweetheart. They're adults. Are we still going to see them? I thought about that for a moment. Not for a while, baby. Not until they learn to be kind. Okay, she said softly. Then even softer, I'm glad I got to eat the turkey. I drove us home, my phone buzzing constantly with calls and texts from my family. I didn't answer any of them. At home, I made Emma hot chocolate with extra marshmallows. We sat on the couch together and I read her favorite book twice. My phone was still buzzing with messages from Mark, Jennifer, and cousins I hadn't heard from in years, all asking what was happening, begging me to reconsider. I turned my phone off. Emma fell asleep against my shoulder, her face peaceful. Tomorrow I'd call my lawyer and make sure the documentation was airtight. But tonight I just held my daughter and felt lighter than I had in 5 years. they'd learn to survive. Either way, Emma would never again watch other children eat first while she waited for scraps. And that was worth everything.